and welcome. I'm Nicole O'Sullivan back here again to finish the chapter today on habit number 3 of the highly successful habits for teens, which can be applied to retired teens, current teens, preteens, anybody who can understand. So without further ado, I'm gonna go in where we left off yesterday, whereas overcoming peer pressure. Some of the hardest moments come when facing peer pressure. Saying no when all our friends are saying yes takes raw courage. However, standing up to peer pressure, what I call won't power, is a massive deposit into your PBA, which is your personal bank account. A counselor at high school shared this. A freshman girl rushed into my office before school with tears streaming down her face. They hate me! They hate me! She had just been dumped by her group of friends who told her to get lost because she had been too good. The day before, to ditch the school and ride up to Chicago for the day. She said at first she wanted to go, but then thought how much it would hurt her mom when the school called home and told her that her daughter wasn't in school. She felt she just couldn't do that to her mom because she had made so many sacrifices for her. She couldn't let her down. She stood up and said, "No, I can't do it," and everyone just blew her off. She thought the next day that everything would be okay, but it wasn't. They all told to her to find new friends because she was too good for them. Through the tears and pain, she began to see that she felt good inside, but lonely, as her friends didn't accept her. But she accepted herself and gained self-respect and inner peace despite outside rejection. A life lesson learned and a moment of standing up for herself. I personally think they're doing her a service. They don't deserve her. Sometimes peer pressure can be so strong that the only way to resist it is to remove yourself entirely from the environment you're in. This is especially the case if you're involved in a gang, fraternity, or sorority, or a tight group of friends. For Heather, changing her environment was the best solution. Even though I knew for a long time that I needed to change my friends, I just didn't know how. My best friend would encourage me to do the things she was, like sleeping around and doing drugs. Before long, people at school started to call me a slut. My best friend would encourage me to do the things she was. Before long, people at school started to call me a slut. I still wanted to be friends with her and my other friends because I would think about all the good times we'd had together. Yet, when I went out with them at night, we would get into stuff we weren't supposed to. I knew I was holding on to things that I shouldn't be. I decided I needed to change my whole environment and get away from them all. I asked my mom if I could go and stay with my aunt to get a new start and find a better group of friends. She agreed. And since then, I've moved in with my aunt. Now, around my new friends, I say whatever I feel is right, and I'm being more myself. I don't care what people say about me, and if they don't like me, then oh well. This is me, and I'm not going to change just to fit in with them. I'm going to change for me. To everyone, to overcome peer pressure, you've got to care more about what you think of you than what your peers think of you. As the short poem of Portia Nelson reminds us, any day of the week, I would choose to be out with others and in touch with myself, than to be in with others and out of touch with myself. Why is peer pressure so hard to resist? It's because you're dying to belong. That's why teens are often willing to go through brutal hazing rituals to become a member of a club or get heavy into drugs and violence to become a member of a gang. Sometimes we simply need a wake-up call to snap out of it. as was the case with Ryan. This is Ryan's words. Peer pressure and wearing the latest styles and clothes was really important to me. Then I got really sick with a kidney disease, and it just kind of seemed silly to buy a bunch of clothes when in a few months they were not the cool thing anymore. I decided that I was going to do what was most important. I started spending more time with my family instead of being out with my friends so much, and I stopped worrying about what they thought about me and started being myself. Not all peer pressure is bad. In fact, much of it can be very good. If you can find a friend who puts positive pressure on you to be your best, then hang on to him or her for dear life because you've got something very special. If you find yourself wanting to stand up but instead you are continually caving into peer pressure, here are two things you can do. First, build your personal bank account. If your self confidence and self respect are low, how can you expect to have the strength to resist? What can you do? You can begin today to build your PBA little by little. Make a promise to yourself and keep it. Help someone in need. Develop a talent. Renew yourself. Eventually, you'll have sufficient strength to forge your own path instead of following the beaten ones. You may want to review the chapter on the personal bank account. Second, write your mission statement and set goals. If you haven't decided what your goals are, how can you expect to stick up for them? It will be a whole lot easier to say no if you know what goals you're saying yes to. For example, it's easier to say no to cutting class when you're saying yes to your goal of getting good grades and making it to college. You may want to review the chapter on Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. The common ingredient of success. In the final analysis, putting first things first takes discipline. It takes discipline to manage your time. It takes discipline to overcome your fears. It takes discipline to be strong in the hard moments and resist peer pressure. A man by the name of Albert E. Gray spent years studying successful people in an attempt to figure out that special ingredient that made them all successful. What do you think he found? Well, it wasn't dressing for success or eating bran or having a positive mental attitude. Instead, this is what he found. Read it carefully. Albert E. Gray's common denominator of success. All successful people have the habit of doing the things failures don't like to do. They don't like doing them either necessarily, but their disliking is subordinated to the strength of their purpose. What does this mean? It means that successful people are willing to suck it up from time to time and do things they don't like doing. Why do they do them? Because they know these things will lead them to their goals. In other words, sometimes you just gotta exercise your special human tool like willpower to get things done, whether you feel like it or not. Do you think a concert pianist always enjoys hours of practice each day? Does a person who is committed to earning her own way through college enjoy taking a second job? I remember reading a story about an All-American collegiate wrestler who was asked what the most memorable day of his career had been. He replied that it was the one day during his career when practice had been canceled. He hated practice, but was willing to endure it for a greater purpose, his love of being the best he could be. A final word. We have surveyed thousands of people in the 7 habits, and guess which habit is the hardest one to live? You suggested it. Habit number 3. So don't get discouraged if you struggle with it. And this one is putting first things first. You've got company. If you don't know where to start with habit 3, go to the baby steps. That's what they're there for, to help you get started. Your teen years can be some of the most exciting and adventurous years of life. So value each moment, as this poem so beautifully communicates. To realize the value of 1 year, ask a student who failed his or her AP exams. To realize the value of 1 month, ask a mother who gave birth to a premature baby. To realize the value of 1 week, ask an editor of a weekly magazine. To realize the value of 1 day, ask a daily wage laborer who has 6 kids to feed. To realize the value of 1 hour, ask the lovers who are waiting to meet. To realize the value of 1 minute, ask a person who missed their train. To realize the value of 1 second, ask the person who survived an accident. To realize the value of 1 millisecond, ask the person who won a silver medal in the Olympics. These are so powerful, eh? Coming attractions. Just up ahead, we'll talk about the stuff that life is made of. I think you'll be surprised what the stuff is. So keep moving. By the way, you're halfway done with the book. Congratulations. So these are the baby steps. I'm going to read them out to you. They're actually these ones right here. So step number 1, set a goal to use a planner for 1 month and stick to your plan. Number 2, identify your biggest time wasters. Do you really need to spend 2 hours on the phone, surf the web all night, or watch the sitcom rerun? My biggest time wasters. Make a list. 3, are you a pleaser? Someone who says yes to everything and everyone. If yes, have the courage to say no today when it's the right thing to do. Number 4, if you have an important test in 1 week, don't procrastinate and wait until the day before to study. Suck it up and study a little each day. 5, think of something you've procrastinated for a long time, but that's very important to you. Block out this time this week to get it done. Item I've procrastinated forever. Make a list. Number 6, note your 10 most important big rocks for the upcoming week. Now, block out time on your schedule to accomplish each one. Number 7, identify a fear that is holding you back from reaching your goals. Decide right now to jump outside your comfort zone and stop letting that fear get the best of you. Fears that are holding me back. Write them down. Number 8, how much impact does peer pressure have on you? Identify the person or people who have the most influence on you. Ask yourself, am I doing what I want to do or what they want me to do? Person or people who have the most influence on me. And then you make a note of that. And we're at the end of chapter 3. We're going to wrap up early today. Our next section, we're going to be starting in part 3 in our next reading. And this is about the public victory. And this section includes the relationship bank account. Habit number 4, think win-win. Habit 5, first seek to be understood, first seek to understand, then to be understood. And habit 6, synergize. So those are some things to look forward to. Have a wonderful day. If you want to learn more, follow me on TikTok or on YouTube at Menacole, the handle at Menacole Transforms. Have a blessed day. Take care. Bye-bye.